All right, this is the third video regarding the Abu Ghraib torture situation, and I wanted to just mention a few items and then some sources, but perhaps future research would focus on using more of a historical comparative methodology, looking at preconditions, violent events, and then post-violent behavior. And also, hopefully, we'll see other researchers look at similar situations using the violentization theory and to look at methods of intervening or preventing violence from happening. What was interesting also is the social reaction to this whole situation. For example, the reason that this whole Abu Ghraib situation was exposed is because a soldier was asked one of the perpetrators for a if he had some photographs and videos of Iraq, and he said sure, and you can go ahead and borrow these and return them later. Gave him some of the drives, and he went ahead and he looked and he saw some pictures of different areas he was interested in using to show his family and friends. Then he saw the torture photographs, and he went ahead and he anonymously turned them in to the investigators who knew who he was and called them in. And this led to a whole series of events. He ended up having to be returned to the United States rapidly because of fear for his life for disclosing the the pictures. And then he also states that he's not able to return to his community because his community is very antagonistic toward him in Maryland, where he lived with his wife, and that they won't allow him back. I mean that his life is at risk if he returns, and people have a very negative view of him, and so it's kind of interesting to look at, uh, from a social perspective and try to put all these pieces together. Okay, a couple books I would mention. Mark Danner's Torture and Truth, America, Abu Ghraib, and the War on Terror. Excellent, excellent resource. Although not directly related to torture and certainly published way before Abu Ghraib, is Ernest Becker's Escape from Evil. One of these books that I go back and read about every 2 or 3 years to reread, just really a wealth of information and very difficult for me to understand everything he was saying, but really interesting stuff. Lonnie Athens' book, Violent Criminal Acts and Actors Revisited, uh, where he outlines a lot of the issues and applications related to violentization theory and beyond. I've used this before in my Violent Crimes, Violent Class grad course. This is an excellent overview of violentization theory and violence in general. This is kind of the book that I'd recommend. Anyone who wants to understand violence should get this book and read it. Read the entire book. And that is Richard Rhodes' Why They Kill, The Discoveries of a Maverick Criminologist. That maverick criminologist happens to be Lonnie Athens. This is a superb reference source. This is just really, if you're interested in violentization theory, if you're interested in violence, Richard Rhodes, also an amazing writer in other domains as well. But this is the book I think anyone who has an interest in violence should read. And then, of course, Philip Zimbardo, The Lucifer Effect, Understanding How Good People Turn Evil. Zimbardo is very interesting if you look him up online and some of like the TED interview or presentation that he did, and he talks about uh, looking at Abu Ghraib and other situations involving violence. He's actually an expert witness for one of the defendants in the Abu Ghraib trial. So he is actually involved in that situation, the trial. Gibson wrote an article in 1991, Training People to Inflict Pain, State Terror and Social Learning, published in the Journal of Humanistic Psychology, volume 31, pages 72 to 87, which we found very helpful in our own research. And then we also used the Fay report, which is readily available online. And the Fay report is titled AR-15-6 Investigation of the Abu Ghraib Detention Facility and 205th Military Intelligence Brigade, the U.S. Department of Defense, and that's available online. So again, that's the Fay report. And then finally, of course, the article that my colleague and I published is found in the International Journal of Public Policy by myself and Dr. Ali Unlu. And the title is A New Approach to Understanding the Abu Ghraib Prison Torture Scandal. And again, that's published in the International Journal of Public Policy, Volume 6, numbers 3 and 4, 2010. And this wraps up this video. Thank you.